Hello, this is Jules from VR Tracker. Today to start a new set of videos to show you how to integrate a game in Unity with our plugin, how to start it, and how to get used to it. So the goal is really to be thorough and go through everything. So I'll just simply get starting. You can see that we have the game will be on the GitHub. It's actually the Unity example game that we're going to create right now. And so here is what I just started. What I did was simply importing the VR Tracker plugin. So it is already in the Git, of course. So I'm first going to start by setting something, which is the pairing example. No, I'll do that later. No worries. So first thing that I want to have is a simple environment to get started. So I've been through the asset store and I found that very nice low poly environment pack. So let's just grab it from the asset store. Low poly. And of course it is free, so it's always better. Okay, apply. Alright, so it's the low poly game kit. We're going to import that. Okay, import. Alright, so I'll just import everything. So it is compiling. Let's just wait for that. This package is quite slow. It's only 3 megabytes, so it's easier to have something low poly like that. Okay, so let's go back to the scene. Okay, so I've been opening the pairing scene, which is VRT pairing example. So the goal of that scene is to do the pairing of the tracker with inside the game. So it's really to assign a tracker to a certain object. But for the moment, I will just add it to the build settings because it currently needs to be the first scene to run. So alright, let's just have that. Let's check also in the player settings that we have the virtual reality enabled. So it is not. Alright, so there we go. Okay, and let's change this. Alright. Okay, so now we have two folders. We have the environment we just imported, we have the VR Tracker plugin, and let's just make a third one that will contain the game. So simply gonna call it game. Let's have a folder for the scripts, one for the scene, or scenes if we have multiple. Alright, so we're gonna start by create a new scene, very simply. Alright. So main game. Let's open that scene. So this is the main scene that we want to run. So we are going to add it to the build settings. This is important because what is going to happen once the pairing is over, it is going to look for the next scene. So it is going to load the next scene, and in this case it is the game scene. So it's important. It is important to have it set up there. And now let's bring in some environment. So I'm just going to open the demo scene from the low poly pack. So you see it's pretty nice. We have some stuff. So that if I run that game, you will see what you can do with it. It's pretty cool because there's already some stuff inside. So I have that little. Oops! I just need to move to game. So I have that player that I can move. I can move it with the arrows, you can pick up objects, you can open boxes. So maybe we will try to do something like with a second tracker that could be used to grab objects and to collect things too. I think it can do some stuff with the ships also. So alright, let's just grab that, and yeah, it can have an inventory. It's pretty cool. So let's check out also how this player is made. So let's have a look at the player. Alright, so the player is there. So what is pretty nice to see is that the player has all the legs and all the body, so we can do kinematic on that player if we want. So maybe later we'll have a video with VR IK. So this is a paid plugin. The IK it is part of Final IK plugin, but it's very nice. It allows you to do invert kinematics and move the body as the player moves. It's really cool to have that in a game because it gives realistic movements. You don't need to have animations, which always look a bit weird. So maybe we'll have a special video about VR and integrating it with your player. So for now, let's just grab all of that. All right, we're gonna copy it in the in our main scene, in our main game. No, I don't want to save. All right, I'm gonna remove that light. So I'm also going to do a game object that will hold all the environment, because otherwise, as you can see, it quickly gets very messy. So let's put the environment inside of that. Let's maybe get the player out of it, if I find it. Okay. Alright, so let's get the player on the side. Maybe we could also remove... Okay, so there is a camera also, certainly, inside of that. So we are not going to use this camera because it's a top-down camera. We can maybe keep it just in case we want to use it later. So we're just gonna change and make it untagged. I think this is going to be enough. Alright, so let's just... So I have a main camera. Let's just start to see if this is the main camera that gets picked up. No, it is actually the other camera, so I don't know why. Oh, wait. Yeah, it is the other camera. Okay, so we're just going to disable that other camera. It's going to be easier. Okay. And we're also going to remove the HUD that is in front of the player. So it must be something called HUD. Alright, so let's just disable that for the moment. Okay, let's try to start that again. Okay, so this is my main camera. It is moving. Perfect. Alright, so this is what I want. Now let's import the VR tracker stuff. So first maybe let's go back to the pairing scene. Okay, so what we're going to want to use is maybe two trackers. So let's say that I want a tracker for the head, of course, to move the players, and let's say that I want to have also a controller. So I will activate this game object that has another VRT tag, and the tag type is ride controller. So what you have to understand here is that under VR tracker you can put as many game objects as you want. Actually not exactly as many as you want, but you can put one game object per tag type. So you could have here 7, I think, 7 or 8 different game objects with a different tag type. What is going to happen is that during the pairing I will start this scene and it will ask me to press the button on the tracker. So for each tracker it will tell me, okay, for the head, press the button on the tracker that is on the head. For the end, press the tracker that is supposed to be on the end. And then it will save this association. It will save a serial number of the tracker in a file. So next time when you will start the pairing scene again, what it will do is that it will check for that file. It will see if it has the serial number for both the head tag and the end and the right controller tag. If it has, it will ask the gateway, okay, can you tell me if those two trackers with those two serial number are currently connected to you? Can you talk with them? If the gateway answers yes, they are connected, you can use them. The pairing will directly switch to the next scene without having to do the pairing again. So it will be automatically paired, and that's what this auto pairing is about. And this is what the JSON file is. This is where those data are stored. So this is pretty useful because you have to do this only once, press the button once, and then it will be automatically paired for the next time. So all right, we're going to have the head and the right controller. So let's go back to the main game. And here what we're going to want to do is to have so the camera. We want to have the camera move with the tracker, and we want to have another object. So what we need to do is that we're going to use actually a player. So maybe we're not going to use the body right now, but let's just get into the VR Tracker plugin. So we don't need the pairing, this is already done, so we need to go into the player. Let's see what we have there. So we have a prefab. That could be cool to actually start directly with a network player. That means that the network player, later we're going to see a part about networking. So the network player, it will be able to do a multiplayer game and have the position networked to the other player. So maybe let's grab that. I think it's not going to be a problem if there is not the networking that is yet there, but we will be adding it after. Yeah, I don't know actually. No, maybe let's start simple and use just the light player, and later we will see a part about adding networking to the whole system. So alright, I'll drop in this prefab. And let's check out what's inside. So we have a disable input tracking script. This is it's a very simple script actually. What it does is that it's gonna say I want to disable the position tracking for all the system. For example, if you use an Oculus Rift, a Vive, any headset with position tracking, it will disable the position from the headset, because we don't want to have the position from the headset plus the position from VR Tracker. It's going to add the position and give you some bad tracking actually. So this is going to disable the tracking. Then we have something for the camera holder, and we have it's called a gun. So let's call it a controller. And it was so the script, the VRT follow tag. What it is going to do is that it's going to check for the VRT tag script that we had under the VR Tracker game object in the pairing scene. So the VRT follow tag is going to look for those. Wait, it's going to look for those scripts and for the specific tag types. So what it's going to do is that here it's going to say, okay, find me the tag that is for the head, and then apply the position, apply the rotation to the game object where the script is. So that means that, for example, if I want to follow the head, the head tracker, I can put it on the camera because we want the camera to move in the scene because it's going to be your view. But for example, we also want the body to move, and here we follow also the head tag. But as you can see, there is a few little difference. For example, we don't follow the position on Y. The main reason is that because there is not IK in the player right now. So if your head is at this height and the player's body touches the ground, and if suddenly you move down, the player's body will go through the ground, and it will look pretty weird. So we just want to move the position on this plane, on the X and Z plane, okay? And for the orientation also, it's only on the Y, so it means that the player can only rotate like this, because otherwise, imagine if I am the player, this is my head, and I move my head down like that, so the orientation will move on the head, but the problem is that it is applied to the full body. So the thing is that the body in the life, it will do like that, and it would look pretty weird because it would have his feet in the air, and this is not what we want. So we just apply the rotation like this. If we had IK, and we would be able to apply the rotation only to the head. So we will see that later. I think we'll do that. But for the moment, this is an easy way to get started. All right. So we have the body. So under the body, this is a body that is already done. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to get the player's body, and I don't want the animation and the character controller actually. I don't want the inventory. Yeah, let's just get that out. So the player body, I'm gonna drop that under there. Yes, I'm going to break the prefab. Let's just remove those stuff. So I will try to have them adjusted to the right, to the 0 position, because otherwise it's going to create an offset when this is moved. You see that, for example, here if I move that, it doesn't rotate along the center because it is not centered here. So let's do this. Alright. This I don't know what is this for actually. Alright. Let's remove that. Also, there is one last thing that can be helpful to know in the VRT follow tag is that you can either use local position and use local rotation. What this means is that instead, because here we're going to apply to the, not the local, but the world position. But if you use the local position, for example, if you want to put all your players inside a game object and use the local position, you can move the game object, the parent game object, to another place for teleportation or anything, or put them in a moving car, for example. And so you can move that parent game object, and the position will be local to that game object, so they can move in the car or they can be teleported. If you don't hit that, it will be only world position, and therefore, if you move the parent game object, the position of the player will not move. So here we don't really need it, but maybe later we will use it. So it was just to tell you that. Okay, so I have my body. Alright, I have my controller that is following. It should be the right controller that we had set in the pairing example. So the controller is going to use everything. Okay, and I have my camera. Okay, so the camera is a bit different. The camera is a bit more complicated. What happens is that what happens is that with the camera, okay, the fader, this is huge. Okay, let's keep it like that. We'll check it after. So what happens with the camera is that there are two things. First, we don't want to use the tracker orientation because it is much smoother to use the orientation inside the headset. Mostly because it is wired inside electronically, so it is the most recent position. It is faster. So we want to use the headset orientation, but the problem with the headset orientation is if that, for example, if I start my headset like that, it will tell me that the heading is this way. So this is my 0, this is 0 on the Y orientation. While the difference is that with the trackers, it will know exactly the 0 will be depending on how you've been calibrating your system. Because the thing is that if this is my 0 and if I move forward like that, and I have calibrated this way with the Z on this axis, the thing is that I will move like that, and in the game the position is not going to move forward, it's going to be on the side, so it's going to look weird. So the thing is that the orientation from the headset, we need to apply an offset to the yaw to be able to correct it, to make it go in the right direction. So this is what the camera rotation offset is about. This is what it does. It takes the rotation from the tracker on the yaw rotation, so the rotation along the y-axis, and it will apply it to the tag. And for some weird reason this is not, oh yeah, no, this is normal. Okay, and there is the mean offset to blink and the fader. This is something in front of the camera in case the rotation, the difference between the yaw and the current camera rotation is too high. We want to blink, to fade in and fade out, to have a blink effect on the headset. So that the rotation is not weird inside the headset when the user is not moving, otherwise it would rotate a lot and it would feel weird. So if there is a too big angle to rotate, we're just gonna blink, rotate, and then turn the view back on. So it feels smoother. So this is the first thing that happens in the in the headset. The first thing that we want to do is to use the rotation of the headset, but correct the offset, the yaw with the tracker rotation. The second thing is that we use the trackers. So you've seen it. We use the tracker that is on top of the headset, and the problem is that we have so we use the position that is on top of the headset, but our eyes are not there. They are there. So, for example, if I have my trackers on top and I move the head while keeping my eyes at the same place, if I move my head like that, so technically my eyes are supposed to stay at the same position, but the tracker position, it moved. So what we need to do is to apply an offset using the tracker orientation to tell it not use that position, but calculate a position where your eyes are. So this is what this game object does. We set an eye tag offset to be able to offset that position, and so that in the end the position that is going to be applied to the camera is not the position of the tracker directly, but a position that is corrected with an offset to be where the eyes are. So I think that's pretty much it for the camera control. It was pretty much more complicated, but at least we've been through that. So we got pretty much everything there set, and on the player we just disabled the tracking input, so that's okay. Here we can just remove that player. So I have the game manager. I think I don't care about it actually, yeah, because I have no player controller anymore. So let's remove that. And my main camera is actually now useless because I have my camera directly in the player here, and let's put it as a main camera. Alright, so that looks good. What we should do now is just start by testing this. Oh wait, just the little problem that we're going to have is that we're going to see the player's body inside the camera, I think. Okay, let's just check a little something. Yeah, the problem here is that we're going to see the camera is going to be inside the player's body, and therefore it's going to look weird. But alright, let's start with that and we'll see how to fix this. Okay, so I had to change the computer because the VR headset doesn't run on MacBook still. So let's open the pairing scene because this is the one we start with once again. I have two trackers, so I'm gonna turn this one on and this one too. Those are version 3 trackers. And let's wait for them to connect. Okay, they are blue, and start the game. So, alright, it tells you pair for your tag. Hit the button to start pairing. Assign the head, so I press the red button on the head. Then assign right controller, so I press the red button on the right controller, and we move to the next scene. Alright, there we go. So it looks like we have a few troubles. Let's just check out the tracking right now. So we have no tracking there, and no tracking. Okay, we got the tracking. So here I have the head tracking, and for the end. Okay, so let's put on the headset. And alright, so I have my controller here. Oh yeah, it's kind of a gun actually. Alright, and as you can see, what's pretty annoying is that inside, well, I don't know if you see it, but I see my player's body. So this is quickly annoying. I have some problems with my tracking right now. Alright, so the next thing that we're going to do is disable the player body. We'll see that later. Actually, we're going to disable the body for the moment, and the thing is that we will keep the body only on the networking for the other players, so the other players can see you. So now as the game is not networked, we are going to keep the body like that. We're just not going to show the body because you don't want to see your own body, especially if you don't have full body tracking.